Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea news show for you guys. And I'm joined by Mr. CFC Pies, who we're going to come to in a second, obviously, and get his thoughts and opinions. It's been a long time since we've seen him as well, guys. So please smash the like buttons. Every single one of you that are here now watching us within 30 seconds, get these likes up. The aim is to see how quickly we can get this to 100 likes. So let's try and do that. We're going to be covering everything in and around Chelsea Football Club and the news that we've obviously heard today and over this sort of last couple of days. And, of course, anything breaking. So if anything does happen while we're live, we will share it with you guys. Obviously, Paz will keep us updated as well on it. But I hope you guys are all well. Big up to every single one of you guys that are currently in here at the moment. Yeah, let's get on with it and let's cue the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea news show for you guys. I am glad to say that we are joined by one of my close friends, actually, in the Chelsea community, CFC Pies. How are we doing, man? How is everything? How's life?
Doing good, bro. It's been a busy time with Chelsea. It's only going to get busier as well, I think. Lots of potential outgoings. Some incomings. It's definitely exciting, and good to be back on the stream.
It's definitely one to be excited about, and I obviously think there's a lot that needs to happen in this summer window, and I think it's a very big summer window for the club as well in terms of how we move forward going into the new season. All right, there's no European football. We've got to minimise the squad, cull it down. Also the outgoings out, new players coming in. It's going to be very busy. It's just about, do we get it right? Are we going to be backing Poch as well? Are these Poch players? That's what we need to maybe work out and discuss as well as we go through the summer window. But big up everyone that's in the chat at the moment. Lee, Josh, Bill, Slime, JP, everyone that's in it. Joey the boy, nice to see you, man. Bri Guy, Ray, Surfs, Fraser, Gary. Who else have we got here? Big up Gary. Big up everyone, man. Big up Josh. RD as well. Sorry, man. Big up RD as well. He says, imagine we sell Mount, Havertz and Zig, but put a 6 to 1 that ends up staying. I don't think that's going to happen, do you, Pies? It could. I don't know. What do you reckon? Pull a 6 days this season?
I think there could be one player that we think is going to leave that ends up staying, but I don't think it'll be Pulisic, to be honest.
It'd probably be Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the one where you're thinking, high energy pressing, Pochettino, maybe he does stay. But again, that one doesn't really make sense with, the whole 4-2-3-1, which we probably will play. So I think it'll be very interesting to see who actually stays, because if we get rid of everyone we think is going to go, then that would be just one of the best windows of all time. So going to be really interesting to see what actually happens.
Lots to get into, guys. Honestly, there's so much we're going through. So make sure, obviously, you guys stay tuned. Get the likes up. Nearly 200 people in already within 3 minutes in. Big up to every single one of you guys that are in here. And I think it's only good to start off with the first announcement from Chelsea, which is obviously the announcement of this guy here. There we go. Christopher Nkunku is confirmed as, well, he was confirmed anyway, but officially confirmed as a Chelsea player, as per Fabrizio Romano has said for a while. 6-year deal as a Chelsea player until June 2029. Fee close to around 60 million euros for Christopher Nkunku. These comments are, I'm incredibly happy. Big effort was made to bring me to the club. I want to show Chelsea supporters what I can do on the pitch. And I think it's a good place to start, Pies. Obviously, the first sort of official announcement of a player coming into Chelsea, isn't it? Or am I missing something here? No, it is the first. So, Christopher Nkunku at Chelsea. How do you feel now about that one?
Yeah, I'm really excited, to be honest. I think unlike other Bundesliga players, he has a lot of technical ability. And I'm a big believer in the whole Bundesliga tax for sure. It's one of the worst leagues for just high lines and overall defending. But I am excited because, again, I've watched him play for France as well. which is obviously a higher level. You just play harder teams, and I'm a fan of him. I like his technical ability. He's very, very composed in front of goal. Hopefully, he doesn't just magically lose all his finishing ability, because that's one of his main standard attributes. So yeah, I'm excited, to be honest. I think he could do really well on the Poch. Interested to see who like the starting striker will end up being. He probably play behind that striker, and yeah, I'm really, really interested to see him play. I watched the DFB Pokal final, I think, the other week against Frankfurt, and he was really, really good. He got a goal, even though it was deflection, and the assist was just kind of sums him up as a player. I think he's really smart. He seems to make a lot of the right decisions, and I know it didn't work out great for him at PSG, but you can definitely see he's a high level player, and I think this one's like fantastic because other top clubs would definitely have wanted him. Any big six club in the Premier League would want him. I think Relevo in Spain are reporting that Real Madrid, he was like on their list. So, yeah, he's definitely a top player. He's still young as well. I think the fee, could end up being a bargain. I mean, that's £52 million. That's, something, a release clause, really. He's probably worth quite a tad more than that, to be honest, in this market. Yeah, I think it's really impressive that we've managed to sign him, and just hopefully everything goes well.
Does it worry you that obviously his recent injury that he has had, which put him out for a couple of months, that as Chelsea do tend to have these things where they sign players and they come along with an injury at the same time, that this could be an issue? Or do you feel because we're out of Europe and maybe the less games involved that maybe this will work better for Christopher Nkunku for a season?
I think it's all right, to be fair. I was a little bit worried when he got that, but he came back and he was like just still banging in the Bundesliga, to be fair. So it doesn't seem to have affected him. And no, he's definitely not the next Werner, bro, for sure.
Does Bundesliga? Yeah, go on.
He's not as quick as Werner, so there's not really, he's quick, but he's not lightning quick. Well, he doesn't just run in behind. That's not the only thing he does. He can play off the sides. He can play in the middle. He's a miles better finisher than Werner. He's more technical and he's just more smart. So I think that's a lazy comparison.
Does Bundesliga tax come into play? We've seen it with Havertz. We've seen it with Werner. Do we worry about that? Yeah,
I think he won't be getting the top scorer in the Premier League. That's for sure. But I don't know. I'm just quietly confident about this one, to be fair. I think he'll be a good player for us. I can see him linking up really well with other players as well. And I'd say the only thing I worry about, obviously, is not the adaptation period in terms of the Premier League, just more like the adaptation period to the team. This is why I've wanted to get signings in very, very early this summer, as quickly as possible before pre-season, because I think it's massive that Pochettino gets to work with all these new players. Like, it's not just the players we're going to sign this summer; it's the players from the past two windows. So,
yeah,
I think that's the only thing where I'm like, is he going to hit the ground running? Is the team actually going to be prepared for that first game against Liverpool? Like that's what I'll be interested to see.
And it's a big game against Liverpool as well. As usual, we don't always seem to get good starts. I've looked at I was looking at the list actually for the season, and I think was it October up to all the way up to mid-December, our lists of games that we had involved Man City. I think it was Arsenal, Tottenham, West Ham, Brighton. It was like all back to back, and I was like, Jesus, like we've got a very tricky period there. But when it comes to Christopher Nkunku, this is a player that I've wanted for about two summer windows now. He's always been in the top, like sort of my top of the list in terms of getting him. And I'm so happy that he's actually at our football club, because the one thing that stresses me, and we can all agree on in the last 3 years, is the lack of clinical finishing. He is clinical, and he's added that to his game. And he didn't start off as a clinical finisher, by the way. That wasn't who he was originally. He sort of grew into that in the Leipzig shirt. And I think it's something that we've missed massively. And I do think that if you create enough for him, unlike the others that we have currently at the moment, he'll put the ball in the back of the net. Now, should he play as the out and out number 9? I think he can do that role. I think he can, but I think the idea with him would be to play someone with him, and that's where we will have to see whether it's a Jackson or whoever it is that we decide to bring through the door and play with. But the main aim is for this going into this next season is how many killers can we get in the team that when we do create, they actually put it in the back of net, because I am fed up with the ifs and buts. or with the other players that have been in there, from Havertz to Ziyech to João Felix to a degree to Pulisic, all these players, that I just felt maybe just wasn't the right players for us moving forward. So he's a big step in the right direction for me. I know Lewis is asking me questions because unfortunately there's a player that lives in his brain all the time and he can't stop talking about him, literally. But we're going to talk about him later on in the show anyway. Big up Lewis, man. The whole team is new. Everyone will have to adapt. Yes, I think every player deserves at least a season. However, I look at Christopher Nkunku just being the type of player to, in and around quality players, just clicking quite quickly, a bit like Enzo. In what we saw with Enzo in this period of time, I can see that happening. It just depends who we play around him, how we set up and how we utilize him. And that's going to obviously be down to Poch. So we'll really see what happens with that trigger. No, don't be silly. I'll be triggered over that. We're going to get to him in a bit, though, Lewis. So it's worth you hanging around. We did say Werner and Lukaku were clinical. I didn't want Lukaku. I'm probably one of the only fans. I don't know if Pi's one of them, but one of the only fans that didn't want Lukaku just purely down to his profile. I just knew it was not going to work for us. But yeah, good signing for us, guys. Nkunku, our silent assassin. Go on, the Don. Big up, man. People, there's 300 views here, guys. Big up to you. Thank you for all being here. Smash the likes as always. We're going to move quickly and swiftly on to the next thing because there's quite a lot for us to get through today. I want to quickly talk about the goalkeeper area. And obviously this report came out today about Diogo Costa being supposedly on Chelsea's list. We know that Edouard Mendy, who we're going to talk about again a bit later on in the shows, looking like he's going over to Saudi Arabia. Players, I mean, Kepa seems like he's going to stay. Will he be number one or not? It depends on who we bring in. In terms of who we might bring in, what sort of list do you think is going to be open for Chelsea in terms of goalkeepers? Have you heard anything any more on it, or is it we just waiting still?
I think the Valencia goalkeeper, I think his name's, I'm going to try it, Mamardashvili. I'm going to say that. I think that's how you pronounce it. But just all at once, basically. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the favoured options. I've heard that our scouts have watched him quite a lot. So yeah, he's more of a pure shot stopper, to be fair, rather than like a ball playing goalkeeper. For me personally, I really wanted Andre Onana. I think he would have been fantastic, but I'm just not sure whether that's going to happen now. I think that meeting that happened in London between Inter Milan and our directors just didn't go well at all. Obviously, we're not giving them Lukaku or Koulibaly on loan, so perhaps they're just going to say, okay, well, we're going to put a stupid price tag on Onana, and then for other clubs, we'll talk more reasonably. So, yeah, I really wanted Onana. Diogo Costa would be good, but I just feel like he's going to cost a lot of money. And for me, Diogo Costa is 100% a number one goalie. And all the reports in the last few days, I think, Nazar, to be fair, I didn't really take him seriously for a little while, but he's got quite a bit of stuff right this window. And he said that the idea now is to go for a number two, to push Kepa to have that healthy competition. I don't want Kepa to stay. I don't rate him. I think he's pretty bad, but he's definitely hard to shift. And we created our own problems, not this ownership, but the last ownership did with Kepa. So yeah.
I'm done with Kepa. I'll be honest with you guys. I know, like Josh is saying, he's more than happy to give him maybe one more season. Just to maybe solve a problem a bit later on with Slonina potentially coming through, which again I've not seen a lot. Slonina, I've not seen a lot of him. I know we signed him, but I've not seen a lot of him as well. I just think it falls down to more of the options, and obviously, again, is Poch comfortable in having Kepa as his number one? There was talks about Emi Martinez. The links to Poch and him in the Argentinian link. Could that be one? There's a couple. For sure, there's going to be a goalie coming in because if Mendy's leaving, you can't just have Kepa, right? So there's going to be someone coming through the door. It's just what type of goalie are we going to bring in? How much are we going to spend on them? And then from that, it will probably determine whether they'll be the number one or what moving forward. Or maybe it's more of a competition thing for Kepa. But I'm like Piers. I'm at a point now where I'm pretty much done with Kepa. I'd rather, if we can, try and find the next goalkeeper that Poch wants, that he's comfortable with, that we could then move into next season with, and have Kepa as maybe a backup goalie for the season. That's fine. I think that's the best option for us. But at the same time, it's say limited area, but Onana would have been great, I think, after watching him. But I think it's just about a waiting game with the goalkeepers and seeing what we do. Once Mendy goes, I think we'll get more traction on it as well, guys. So let's see what happens with that. 350 of you guys here. Big up every single one of you that are all in the building. Please make sure you're smashing the likes, guys, as we're going through all of these sort of topics that we've got at the moment. We're going to move away from the goalkeepers onto one topic that seems to be dragging a lot. Is probably the word for that, and it's Mason Mount. Obviously, they've came in with a bid that Chelsea have removed away. They're set to raise another bid this week for Mason Mount to around 50 million via Fabrizio Romano, is what we've been told here. Do you think Chelsea want pies for Mason Mount?
How much do Chelsea want?
Chelsea want. What's a good deal? What he's going to make Mount go is what I'm trying to work out.
I think similar to Havertz. I think you're talking about £60 million. I'm a little bit concerned on this, to be fair, this deal, because I don't know if Man United are going to go higher than 50 mil, which is going to put Chelsea in a corner. I've read a few Man United sources that have said they won't go higher than 50 mil. So again, let's see what Chelsea do when this bid does come in. But I don't know, like, we're in a difficult situation with Mount because, like, Havertz, like, if we don't want to sell him, we don't have to sell him, right? With Mount, it's like you don't sell him, you're then risking that negotiations start up again from scratch, go right, he signs a new deal. And I just don't think that's happening. I really don't. I think we're going to have to sell him. So if we have to take 50 mil just to get him out and raise funds and look towards the future, we have to take 50 mil. But I just don't think we will, Gemma. I think we'll hold out for something like 60 mil, and it will be interesting to see what Man United react.
Just 2 minutes.
I'll be interested to see what Man United do. I guess I'm going to be the host now for a minute while Gemma's gone. So I don't know what the chat thinks, but I don't think Chelsea will accept £50 million. They started at 70 to 75, and I just don't see us going down that much. And I think it's interesting as well that Havertz has, the price tag for him, reportedly was 70 to 75 mil, and now he's gone down as well. So Chelsea have definitely, bit the bullet a little bit on Havertz's price tag. Will they do that again with Mason Mount? No. I mean, I wouldn't sell him for 40, but I'd at least look for 50 plus for me.
I think Mason Mount is going to go for around 50 million, maybe plus with some add-ons, close to 60 mil. Potentially we agree. I think we want to get for both Havertz and Mount over 100 million. I think that's the aim. Looks like with Kai Havertz as the potentials, which we're going to go to next, that we will get for around sort of 60 to 65 million for him. And again, I don't see why we can't hold out for 50 million for someone like Mason Mount. People say, oh yeah, because they don't like him, they would just want him gone. But there's still value to be there. He had 2 good seasons at Chelsea. He's a Champions League winner as well. The inflation in the football market always is and has been heavy. So at the end of the day, if we can get another 10 million on top of it in inflation, I think 55 to 60 million is probably about right for Mason Mount. We'll just have to see, but with doing all of this and getting rid of Ziyech and Mount and Havertz and all of these may lead to us keeping Conor Gallagher, who at the moment I don't really rate, but apparently I read something that Poch seems to think that he likes him. But I don't know at this point. I think it's still too early doors in terms of trying to work out where we're going with the squad, who's here and stuff. But in terms of Mason Mount, I think it's dragged on too long as a club. We're not going to be negotiating or giving him anything else. Obviously, we're opening the doors for to let him go anyway. He wants to go. Man United want him. Ten Hag wants him. Just tell him where they have to be. And then negotiate from there and just try and get this done is what I would say. And then we can all sort of move on from this. But unfortunately, because it doesn't look like he's going to be hanging around. And to be honest, I'll be quite frank with you. If he stayed, I wouldn't mind it. I don't know about you, Pies. I wouldn't even mind it if he was in the squad for Chelsea, having Mason Mount.
I don't know. For me personally, like, my whole attitude towards this summer is, if there's players that are looking likely to leave, and they want to leave. I mean, there's obviously a debate whether Mason Mount wants to leave, but is happy agreeing personal terms with Man United. So I'd rather not keep these players in the squad personally. And again, I just don't know whether Mount's going to be happy sitting on the bench because I don't see where he starts. That's the whole thing with Mount at the moment. We've just signed Nkunku. Like, you're not going to bench Nkunku for Mount. He's not going to play in the pivot. Is he going to take one of the wide spots from Sterling, Mudryk, Madueke? I don't think so. So where does he start? This is probably the whole reason why he's not signing a contract as well, or at least part of the reason.
Yeah, 100%. And if players, and the big rule I think out of all of this is that if a player doesn't want to be here and they are actually done, then I don't really want players being here. To be honest, I don't think it's good for them to be here if they don't want to, or they don't feel that they're going to get enough game time or whatever the reasons are. And if that's how Mason Mount feels, and it obviously seems like that for the long periods that we've seen this sort of back and forwards of Chelsea and Mason Mount, I think it's probably the right decision to make. So let's just see what happens. The summer must draw a clear line on who wants to be here exactly. If you don't want to commit to the next 5-7 years, you have to go. Yeah, I hear that, Josh. I hear that. Okay, that's Mason Mount. Over 400 people in the chat. We've got Kai Havertz still to come. We've got, obviously, Jackson to talk about. A couple other bits as well. What's your thoughts on this? Pochettino being interested in, obviously, your comments that you put out, actually, via Matty Moretto in regards to Vega. I've not watched enough of the guy, but obviously there's a talent there. I've seen clips of him as well. It seems like they're going to let him go anyway this season, from what I've read. Is he a good? I mean, again, is he a good option for us? And do we know even what sort of value he would cost for Chelsea? Have I gone muted? No. Has he gone muted?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. So Vega's release clause is 40 million euros. I think that's like 34 million pounds. So it'd be pretty cheap. He's young. He's pretty I don't know who to compare him to. Like, he's got a really good shot technique. And from what I've seen, he's just like I don't know, almost like a box crusher, I guess. Like, makes late runs into the box. Not really like the best at passing. I think his passing stats are pretty bad in terms of volume, but he's definitely a talent. He's quick. He's scored goals from wide areas as well. So I definitely need to watch him a little bit more, or get one of my writers to write about him. To be fair, but I mean, I don't know. If this report is true, then perhaps that Pochettino does want him, and I think we should get him if Pochettino wants him. I could see him being a backup number 10, to be fair, because he's a goal scorer midfielder, and he would be cheap. He's young. I think he got 11 goals, I think, for Celta this season, 15 goals, assists, something like that. So, potential there, and Liverpool want him as well. They've been linked with him. So, again, make those conclusions from that.
I've not seen enough of the boy, so I don't have much comments to say. I've watched little clips of him here and there. But does it go back to the question about, are we just signing too much youth? Because, it seems like we're buying a lot of unproven young players into the squad. I don't mind it. I think it's important, especially when they're talking about, and we heard Bowley comment on this, saying that he wants sort of a sustainability in the future in this club, rather than just always being the now. And I get doing that. You have to try and find the best young European players across and trying to attract them to the club and hopefully guide them into the club eventually. But I think it's also important that we have a big mix of people that are experienced as well. And experience doesn't always specifically mean that you have to be 28 or 30 years old and won thousands of trophies or played for the a top 16 for like 10 years of your life or whatever. Experience can still be that you're 23, 24, you've played in the Prem for 3 seasons or 2 seasons or whatever. And, like that's, for me, that's gained as experience. So I think there's ways of looking at the experience thing. It doesn't mean that you have to have a Thiago Silva all the time in the team, even though it's important. I still think it's more about, their overall experience in the game. Doesn't matter what age they are and how much they've played. So that's the other way I'd look at it as well. But again, Pies, a lot of people moan about. So I say a lot of people. Some people moan about Chelsea signing too many young players. What's your thoughts on how the project's moving and what we're trying to do with that?
I definitely do see I do see that argument. I would like some more experienced players in the squad dotted about as well. I do think we definitely lack leadership. For sure, it's definitely been one of the worries. It's exciting buying all these young players, but I definitely do agree with sort of the I guess the complaints or the worries that some fans have. I think the best way to build something that can compete very soon in our case, because I don't think we're a million miles off, to be fair. But I do think we need some more experienced players in our squad. But again, on that, it's very, very hard to find them because we signed Sterling, we signed Koulibaly, thinking they were going to be leaders, and they're just not. So it's about a balancing act. I do think we're going too much towards the whole youth and average age of 23, 24. But again, the owners are looking for long term. They're looking for a long term project. They're looking for something that can be sustainable, a team that can compete over 3, 4, 5 years without having to make too many other signings. They're trying to build the perfect young squad, but at the same time, it's very, very hard to do that. Again, especially with Chelsea, because Chelsea, and even Noni Madueke said this, Chelsea have never been a project club. All we're used to doing is winning, winning, winning.
Yes.
When we don't get that taste of winning, it's very difficult to back the whole project. I like what they're trying to do. I see the idea, but at some point, if Pochettino doesn't work out, they're going to have to really think about what they do in terms of manager, in terms of direction. Because again, if we can see it, if the fans can see that in certain games, our heads are dropping once we concede the first goal, that we lack leadership, we lack talkers, right? If our fans can see that, then surely the directors can see that. Surely.
100%.
But clearly we have to say no right now because they're not targeting any experienced senior players alongside these young talents to help them. They're just not. Silva's only here for one more year. It's crazy. Aspie's not a leader. He never has been. So I feel like we do need to have not a change of direction, but we need to find a balancing act. I keep saying this. Arsenal, fantastic team last season, right? Fantastic team. I firmly believe they bottled the league because of their inexperience in that situation. They had too many young players, way too many young players, too many young players in that starting 11 that hadn't been in that position before. It's all right getting to it, but you have to finish it off, right? If we get to cup finals but we don't win them, are we just going to believe in the direction? No, we have to win. We have to get to the end point and push over that line and actually make something of it. So yeah, I think it's about a balancing act. I don't think Chelsea are doing the whole balancing act very good right now. You see what Arsenal are doing already, right? In this window, they're trying to sign Declan Rice. Okay, he's been in the Premier League 3 years, right? He's West Ham's captain. They're already identifying the weaknesses that they had last season, and they're letting go of Xhaka, right? Who's a leader, yeah. They're bringing in another leader. If Chelsea let go of one of their leaders, they'll bring in another young player who's not a leader. That's the difference. And that's why Arsenal will be ahead of us again next season. And this is the unfortunate truth.
See, I think Christopher Nkunku brings experience, even though he's still very young. I think you get that from him. We brought in Raheem Sterling, who you'd assume was one of them, right? We brought in Koulibaly, who should have been, with his experience, a leader. I think, have we gone over the top on signing young players so far? Yeah. Obviously, there's an idea to try and find some of the top European players across the game, and I still think there's a second plan to them. I don't think it's just buy them all and then whatever one's getting. I think there's a potential that we might look to buy a second club, and through that a competitive club, which then you can throw these guys in and get them playing competitive and then slowly feed them through if you can. If not, you sell them. And I think there will be an investment option in both ways for Chelsea in doing so. But at the same time, I think we have to look at the fact of where we are now and where we want to be in the future. And we can't just stop what we're doing and wait for 3 years for these to all come through and then, and then move forward with it. It's a case of we still need to find the balancing act, as Pies is saying. And I agree with that. I think it's important that if you're going to bring all these young boys in and whatever that have got no experience or not played at of a higher level or a standard, that they're around people that can guide them through that. And yeah, I expect us to be very busy. I think it'll be interesting to see the level of players that we bring in, because at the moment, yeah, there's a lot of youth. Will we go for experience? And like I said, experience could just be someone that's played in the Premier League for 2 seasons now, 3 seasons. That is still experience. That's guidance. That's someone that can say, I've played here, I've done it, I'm here. A bit like Declan Rice. All right, he brings a bit more leadership qualities than maybe a Caicedo, for example. But, you know, there's different ways of it, is what I'm saying. And I think we'll have to just see what happens for the rest of this summer window. But one of the players that also looks like he's going potentially and wants to go, from what we understand, is Kai Havertz. And we had some news today from Fabrizio Romano, who said that Kai Havertz still is to get to the agreement done this week after the international break. Arsenal hope that the green light from Chelsea as a 5-year deal is already agreed with Kai. Indicated fee to get the deal done is around 65 million sterling. Being told 60 million plus 5 million, I think, isn't it? Fires with the bonuses on that one. What is your thoughts on this? Like, is this down to this is the question on this one. If this does pull off, and this is the case, and they do, is this down to Chelsea showing that they can negotiate well and make for money on players, or is this more down to Edu and them potentially just looking a bit stupid and overpaying for a player that's maybe not performed for the last 3 years?
I think I said this in our chat earlier, didn't I? I was like, well, you know, there's option A and option B, and you ended up saying it's probably a bit of both. And it's like you said, when Stanley and Stewart are either good negotiators or Edu's just plain stupid. I mean, this is like if this goes through, which I think it is, this is a bank heist. I'm not hearing this potential talk for Havertz. The guy's been asked for 3 seasons, 3 years. All right, he's been asked. So, you know, forever grateful for the Champions League final goal, but this guy's going to Arsenal, man. I didn't like him as a player. Like, now I don't like him as a person. Why is he going to Arsenal? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's snaky behaviour in my opinion. The first bad season and you jumping ship to our London rivals. Get out of it, honestly. Like, I can't wait till he leaves.
Is that because of the only initial interest coming from them? I mean, if Real Madrid put in a 50 million bid, would we call him a snake?
No, I think Bayern Munich had very credible interest. You know, Florian Plettenberg said they entered the race, but, you know, his preference was Arsenal. You know, he's gone on record as well to state that, you know, he really likes London. I'm just extremely disappointed in him because he's not one of the players we was looking to push out. You know, it's only because he said he's not signing a new deal that we're now looking to sell him. So, yeah, I just think it's disappointing, really, that after, you know, the first bad season, he wants to jump ship. You know, I'd expect this from maybe a player like Sterling, who's been used to winning all his career, and then, you know, you finish 12th and you're like, yeah, I'm out of it. I don't want to do this anymore. Even Sterling wants to stay. Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't understand this from Havertz, but, you know, 65 mil is an absolute bank heist. It's a bank robbery, in my opinion. I know some people are big Havertz fans, but I don't see it personally. I don't even see where it's going to be interesting actually at Arsenal. I don't see where he plays because, you know, he's going to be a starter for this price. So maybe does he play in centre midfield? You know, does he play? I don't know. Does he play up front? I mean, it's just confusing to me. Like when I saw this. By the way, Alex Goldberg was actually first to reveal in Arsenal's interest, and I was like, yeah, there's no way like that's going to happen. And now it's like nearly done. I'm just confused. I'm really, really confused.
Apparently, Arteta likes him. He sees him as a versatile player. I've always said, and I stick to it. I always think that Kai Havertz's best position is behind he's not a number 9. He's just not a number 9. So if their idea is to play him as a number 9, it's just stupid. You're wasting 65 million. It's not going to happen. I think the idea is to play him next to Odegaard. I think they will play. They kind of do it, and we saw it last season where they look like they've got a back 4, but Zinchenko goes into the middle. I think you'd see that they have 2 sort of 8/10s behind Jesus, and then you have Martinelli and Saka on the wings. And I think from that, because of how their system runs and how functional it is, we can say they're very a functional team compared to us, for example, at the moment. I think that he may, if he does, because for that money, for me, you have to start. You don't pay that money for someone to sit on the bench. So he has to fit in somewhere. So I think the way that they fit him in is playing him next to Odegaard, having Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, Jesus up front, and then they'll have 2 DMs, Declan Rice and whoever in that, and then we'll have a back 3. And it might be Zinchenko, for example, that comes in from the left into the middle, and then you have the back, and then they'll go into a back 3 in between games. I think you could see them do that. And do I think he could be successful in it? I think in how much Arsenal create and how we've seen them play last season and the understanding of the system, I think potentially, but then it's just going to fall down to him finding his feet himself and finding his quality, because there's no doubt that there is. And I know a lot of people that hates the guy, but at the same time, I still feel there is a quality in Kai Havertz. I just don't think it will ever be shown at Chelsea, so whether or not it has to be somewhere else, and unfortunately to a team like Arsenal, which we all can't stand, and he goes and does it, that may hurt a little bit more. But at the same time, he may not. He may go there and fucking just be the same Kai Havertz, and we can, you can laugh about it or whatever, So for me, I just look at it like this: we get 65 million for Kai Havertz, I am happy. like there's no tie. That's what I'm saying. There's no timings to me and Havertz, or I'm pretty sure any other people when it comes to that. If we managed to recoup 65 million in total when we paid, was it 72 million for him when we brought him across, and he's had a poor 3 seasons, I don't think that's bad. I think we've done really well, and I understand why Chelsea would allow him to leave. I understand why he would want to maybe stay, because we know that his missus is happy in London. He's already said that many a times. So, him not going to maybe a Bayern Munich might be because he's like, well, actually, I do want to stay here, but if you want to sell me, then I'm cool to go Arsenal. And if
Chelsea
they're going to
doesn't want to sell him, though. Chelsea didn't want to sell him. He wasn't in the sell list.
No, he wasn't, but they got offered 65 million for him. And when you think about
only because Havertz indicated he wanted to leave, though. Like if Havertz was just like, yeah, like you've got to remember, he talks. Clubs talk to the player first before bidding, right? Arsenal didn't just turn up and offer a 65 mil. They'd had to agree personal terms first. Personal terms were done, quite a few days ago. So if Havertz didn't say to Arsenal, yeah, I want to join you, then Arsenal would have never bid. This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm like a bit disappointed in it.
But Chelsea would have at the same time had to have agreed something for him to go as well, though. So what I'm saying is, like,
I mean, yeah, you can't keep unhappy players, though. You can't get players that don't want to leave.
And I get that, but I don't think specifically he was. Again, it makes it look like he is, from what we understand. I don't think he was specifically unhappy. I just think we're looking at it as, who can we get value on? What players give us value? And if someone comes in and we're happy for that value and he's happy to do it, then we'll do it. That's what I think it is. And when you look at him and Mount, equally, they're one of the 2 players left in the forward line, barring Ziyech, Pulisic, and all the other crap that we got there, that we can make money on anyway. So, and we need to make money because we still need to spend. And I think that is the attitude we're going to have this season when it comes to buying. So at the same time, I think it's just, at the end of the day, I think it's good. It's good if they're going to pay that money, go. Let them. Yeah, God forbid it's Arsenal, and we won't like it and whatever. And I agree with it, but in terms of actually, getting what we're going to get for him based on what we spent on him after the 3 years that we've had with him and others, you can only just say, well done, Todd Bowley and the recruitment team with all the negotiators that have dealt with that. So we'll see what happens. He goes. Obviously, Felix is not returning. Poch made it very clear he didn't want João Felix. I know that hurt you a little bit, didn't it, Pies? No João Felix as an option for Chelsea next season.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Chelsea fans that are a little bit upset about that. I weren't one of them, to be honest. I was quite all right with the whole fact of him not coming over to Chelsea. But then we've still got Mudryk and Madueke and others that need to kick on and be managed and be playing for the money that we spent on them as well. So it makes a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens more with Kai Havertz, guys. It's looking like it's getting very close. For Rich Romano said it looks like it could be happening by the end of this week after the international as well. So we'll see what happens more on with him at a later stage. Let's talk about the surprise option of striker that Chelsea have been looking to take on. Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal. 29 million sterling is what Fabrizio Romano's paid. Now from what I've read today, he's saying it's pretty much imminent. Chelsea have beaten 2 or 3 other clubs to try and get this done swiftly. He's not a player that I've seen a lot of. I've watched clips off again. My first reactions of him was he looks a bit like Tammy Abraham, like in his movements, like how he plays and how he holds the ball. And however, what I would say with this player, from what I've seen, is he seems to be a lot more polished than Tammy Abraham with the technical side, the technical ability with the ball at his feet. You know, his aerial ability is not very good. Was it you, Pies, that sent that? Someone sent a graph of his aerial ability or something was really poor, like
Yeah.
really bad at header in for like a 6-foot player or something. I mean, what's your thoughts on this? Is Chelsea again? Is this another one of why are we signing someone so young that's not really proven, or do you think actually this is actually quite a good thing to do?
I mean, we'll soon find out when the season starts, right? And when we start seeing him play a bit more. I watched the game Senegal played against Benin the other night. He started. I watched all of it. I was watching him very closely. He's got really, 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 really good movement. To be fair, really good runs in behind. He's definitely a physical specimen. Like this guy is strong as shit. Like he's very, very strong. There was so many times where he held the ball up, bullied players. Again, Benin, not a great country, but he's done this again for Villarreal. Just look at Villarreal clips. He does the same thing, using his body extremely well. He's definitely a beast in terms of strength. The hold up play was a little bit inconsistent from what I saw against Benin. I watched the full. I think he came off at 84 minutes. I've actually got a comp on my personal account, a personal Twitter account. If you guys want to go and watch that, sure, Jem will link it. But yeah, his touches and stuff. There was some times where I was like, damn, like he's really technical. And then there was a few times where he just completely like miscontrolled the ball and stuff like that. So again, I think he's raw. He's definitely really raw. So for me, this is not a starting striker. This is not a starting striker at all. If we go into the season with him and Broja, maybe Nkunku as like the emergency guy up front, I'll be a bit worried that we could make, top 5, top 6, top 4, whatever. But he's definitely got the attributes, the raw attributes, the shooting technique, the pace, the power to certainly succeeded. But again, he does need to work on some things, heading especially. He actually got. What's funny is the assist he got was from a header, but the header was it was obviously a header. He was going for goal, but there was another guy who like ran onto it and tapped it in. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's something different, to be fair. It's definitely something different than what we usually go for. But I'd still want a starting striker, whether that be, I mean, Pochettino supposedly wants Lautaro. Vlahovic is out there. I mean, if we sell all these players, maybe we can even go for Osimhen. Who knows what could be possible in the market.
What's the point of signing Fofana though? It just makes no sense, does it? Like, why did we even do
Well,
that?
I keep saying to these people, and I'm not saying you're one of them, but I think a lot of people have got really lost in this whole like idea of Todd Bowley. The idea, right, is to only get. Obviously, we've signed so many of these young players, right, and it's definitely confused a few fans because we've not got the multi-club model set up right now, right? But when we start investing in clubs, you'll start to see the pathway and the plan of what we're going to do with these guys. Now, not every player we sign is going to make it into the first team. This is what I keep saying. That Fofana, right? He was probably a signing that we had to sign then, so other clubs didn't get him. But with an eye to actually putting him out on loan several times before then actually seeing whether he's good enough or whether we sell him, because they have taken inspiration from the Leipzig and the Brighton models where you buy young, cheap talents and then you sell them on, right, for profit. There's definitely going to be a bit of that. And there might be players that our fans are like, why the hell did you even sign him then if you just sold him for twice the profit or something like that? Where's the pathway? It's not actually their aim, So I don't think, all of these young players will make it into the team. Jem's got something. So anyway, yeah. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about sort of the whole investing in young talents. Do you believe that signing Caicedo? Do you believe that signing Santos? When we sign these guys, do you think they should come straight in and be given opportunities, or do you like the idea that they go on several loans first and then potentially, if we sell them, for twice the profit, that could obviously be seen as a good thing, like. What do you guys think in the chat? I'm just going to open up my YouTube to check the guy. Okay, never mind. Chairman's here. I can stop.
Sorry, guys.
I was just asking him about that model because a lot of fans I think have got lost in the whole like, right, we've signed Caicedo, we've signed Santos there for the first team. Like, not necessarily,
100%. It's a good question to ask, and guys, obviously respond to that if you can, and we'll obviously bring it up as well. Sorry, I've had so many blooming deliveries come today at a period where someone was meant to be here, but they're not here at the moment. So it is what it is. what are we saying here? So I think it's a good idea, but we need to focus on the now. We've probably spent 200-300 million on players that aren't near the first team, is what Calby says to that. Chelsea offered Real Madrid for Tchouameni, but was turned down. Now they are going off raising on interest in about. I don't even know who that person is that even said that, to be honest. So I don't know who that is. Today is Nicholas Jackson's 22nd birthday, still very young. And again, look, yes, he is still very young, you know, and with a manager like Poch, who is a manager, we can say he's a manager. We'll talk a bit about Poch in a bit as well. Maybe he will find the best of Jackson and bring the best out of him. There's no, you know, there's no saying that couldn't happen, because that could happen. I just think it's going to be. I think with the whole fan base, and I keep saying this to him. Yeah, I think we all just need to just calm down for a second, stop running and going crazy, and because we're used to one specific model that we've seen successful for so many years. I think we need to take a step back. Yeah, we've seen them make footballing decision mistakes last season, and I get that. We all understand it. At the same time, I think it's very important that we, you know, at least allow them more than a year. Because they've only been here over a year, right? And yeah, they've made mistakes. They've now brought in a board. They've got Win Stanley, Lawrence Stewart, you know, whatever. Vivel all in there now, making decisions, helping them now, which means I'm assuming gives them, you know, that worry of stepping back and not having to be too involved in that part, which is a good start. The next part of it is making sure they find the right manager to progress us. Pochettino has come in. This is who they feel is the right man. We'll see with that. The next big step is obviously getting rid of players that don't want to be here, and then backing the manager to support him with the right profile players. I say profile. I don't mean signing loads of players, which we have done in the past that just don't work, or the chemistry is not right, or just not the right players for Chelsea. I'm talking about players that actually suit what he wants to do, something that we haven't been doing for a very long time. And when you look at Man City, for example, in the module that they run, they get rid of players, but then they also bring in players that complement their systems and manager. It's because they're all one. They all work together. And that's why it becomes successful. And yes, there's a sustainability of wanting to be successful in the future. But we have to try and if we're going to do that, we have to kind of still try and find the way Man City have done it, where they haven't had to wait for so long. They did at the beginning. I'm not going to lie, when they first got taken over a little bit. But, you know, now they've got to that point where they can make certain decisions and bring certain players in and whatever, and everything still just ticks and it does what it needs to do. We're at the phase now where we're nowhere near that. What we're at is we need to now get rid of all of the old crap that we've had since the old regime that don't want to be here, that doesn't want to get on with it. Bring in the new, you know, start fresh, get manager in, get a board in, which we have now with the recruitment and whatever, and then try and push together forward with the same vision and it progress. The progression is what we need to see. And this is the big key over the next season or two. As a fan base, we now need to start seeing progression, because we can't keep seeing or even see what we saw last season happen. So I think I think it's now about just seeing what the decisions we make moving forward and how we progress, and if we can find that sort of rhythm like Man City have done for many years now moving forward. But let's see what happens. We're going to quickly have to talk on someone that I don't really want to talk about, but again, he seems to always find his way into news. Romelu Lukaku is unhappy with Chelsea attitude. He's unhappy with Chelsea's attitude, apparently, guys. Sorry. As they try to push him to Al Hilal as he is planning to go to London after the Estonia game, probably with his lawyer. I said, let him come to London. He apparently just wants to go to Inter and Inter only. He wants something to be sorted with them. I just said, when he comes over to London, get his contract and rip it in his face and tell him to get out the door. Because that's what I would do. I mean, he probably couldn't for legal reasons, but, you know, if that was the easy way of doing things, then we should do that. I mean, this guy is just an enigma now, isn't he? He's just becoming a bit like, you know, he cost us 100 million, the most expensive player I've ever signed. He's been atrocious, not only obviously on the pitch, but obviously off the pitch with us as well. You know, what next with Romelu Lukaku, mate? That's what I'm going to say. What next? What next with this guy?
I mean, it's going to be difficult to find a club that wants to take him. You know, as much as I don't want him to, you know, in quotation marks, win, I guess. I think we have to get him back to Inter Milan. I think, you know, we have to agree something. If it's a loan, try with a loan and obligation. You know, we need some money for this guy. It's such a shame that, you know, his stupid ass didn't want to take loads of money and go to Saudi Arabia, because You know, I think Matt Law said that we've received a proposal for Aubameyang, Ziyech, Mendy, who's the other one? Koulibaly and Lukaku is over £100 million. So they probably realistically were offering us like 30-40 million for Lukaku, which had just been, you know, obviously not insane from what we bought him for, but, you know, no one's going to offer anywhere near close to that now. So, yeah, you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm just sick of him, innit? Like he's just such a like nuisance. Like he's such a pain in our backside. Like, you know, like he's just so egotistical. Like, yeah, it's insane.
He's just not worth talking about. I mean, until the day that we get rid of him, like Timo Bakayoko, I'm going to be very happy, man. Like, just get rid of these guys, man. They just waste of space. Let's go to some new news, guys. New news. Obviously, Pies, you put it out there as well via the Athletic. It's 25 million for Mateo Kovacic. Does that bother you that he's going over there?
Yeah, because he's my favourite player. I absolutely love Kovacic. You know, I'm gutted he's going to be leaving, to be honest with you. I think 25 mil is just so insulting as well. I think that's outrageous. Like, what the hell? I know he's injury prone and stuff like that, but for a player of his pure ability, 25 mil. Like, you see championship players go for more than this. It's an absolute joke. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm not going to scream and shout and cry about it. Just get me Caicedo and, you know, we go from there.
I agree. I think we do need to move forward with it. Obviously, Kante has gone, as we know. Kovacic is now another one that's followed out the door. Again, he's staying in the Premier League. I would like to have seen him go out away from the league. But, you know, if Man City come knocking on the door and they want you and you're a player like Kovacic who has the opportunity to then go on and win a Premier League, fine. I think, for me, it's just, with him, it's how does he fit in Man City? In how they've set up. You know, they've got Gundogan, who looks like he might stay. Rodri, De Bruyne. You know, does he play with De Bruyne? I don't know, with Rodri holding, and does that work? I don't know. You know, I'm not too sure how it works specifically, but obviously he's a top player again. And 25 million is slightly insulting. I think we should have at least been able to get 30 to 35 million for Kovacic. Just be serious. How old is he? 28? 29? Is he a bit older? I don't know how old he is. You know, so slightly insulting. Our old Todd Bowley with a donation says, "I'll take care of that. I have some friends." Big up.
Right, whoever this person is, if you have Twitter, can you send me that picture? That's brilliant. Please send me that picture. My DMs are open. If you've got a Twitter, bro, please send me that. That's funny.
Guys, there's nearly 500 of you here still. Make sure we're smashing the likes. How many likes we got? Don't make me have to have a look now. We've not got enough. We've got 93 likes, guys. Come on. 93 likes, and there's over 300 people on Chelsea Fan TV. Come on, guys. We should be over 100 by far. We should be at 150. So if everyone can hit the thumb below the screen right now, let's see how quickly that can get pushed up. And the same with GNA TV as well. 150 of you guys there, but only 65 likes, guys. Come on, we can get that over 100 as well. If everyone taps the like button, I would massively appreciate you doing that. As we speak now, guys, as we speak now. So should not be bothered with where these players are going to play at their new clubs. Let's just get a good price and move on ASAP. I hear that, Witness Sofa. I hear that. Okay, so there's Mateo Kovacic. I want to move on quickly to CFC Pies' daily roundup, and it's going to involve, obviously, talks about other things. Not that one. Where's it gone? It's something he's going to be doing quite regularly, guys. So if you don't follow Pies, make sure you give him a follow now. There is he's there at CFC Pies. Again, obviously, we'll share that at the end of the show as well. We're just going to go through some of the comments here. Hakim Ziyech has agreed personal terms with Al Nassr. A deal with Chelsea could be struck today. Do we know roughly how much yet, Pies, on that one? Or are we still waiting? Or is he going to make any money on him? I don't even know.
There's been no report so far. There's been no report for Mendy. Koulibaly is, I think, 20 to 25 million pounds. I think that's what Fab said. So,
yeah,
you know, I think we bought Koulibaly for 33 mil, so it's not that big of a loss. And again, like the good thing about like the Saudi clubs is they just offer you fees, right? And they offer good fees because they've got so much money. Like, imagine trying to sell Koulibaly for 20, 25 mil somewhere else. Like, you think it'd be easy, but it's really not easy. Like, there's not a lot of clubs. You know, you'd have to sell him in the Premier League to get that fee. You know, maybe Juventus, but Juventus have got money issues anyway. So, Napoli perhaps if when Kim Min Jae leaves, but will they take him back? Will they want to buy Koulibaly back? I don't know. Like it's difficult. So I'm very happy, to be fair, that these three players are leaving for good fees. Hopefully, Koulibaly, I would have liked to give him another season, but with Colwill coming in, I just don't see the point in keeping him personally.
What's your thoughts on the rivals' sort in regards to Todd Boehly and Chelsea dealings with Saudi Arabia? I mean, I think it's very
It
clever.
is
I find it quite
ridiculous.
funny. I mean, did you see Gary Neville's comments on it?
Yeah, I think it's just ridiculous. Like, so what? Our owners have got really good connections, and they're good businessmen. Like, this is the thing. These guys are not football people. They're businessmen. What did you remember? All the reports in summer 2022, right? All Todd Boehly did all that summer, right? Every deal, he was meeting so many agents, gaining relationships. We've now got George Mendes on our side because of Todd Boehly. There's so many other agents. He met Premier League people. Remember that dinner he held, right, with all the Premier League executives? Just no, honestly though, just to gain relationships with them. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
he's a business guy. Iqbali's a business guy. Like, I put out a tweet the other day, on my personal account. I was like, shock horror, like billionaires, learn a new financial market quickly. Like, as if like this is how they've become billionaires, because they're good in the finance market. They're good at, gaining relationships and doing business. Like, this is not anything dodgy going on here. I would have said, right, if the Saudis started bidding for Conor Gallagher and Kepa and all that sort of thing, I'd be like, okay, right, this is a bit dodgy here. But you see what the Saudis are doing is they're going for, older players, and the majority of them are Muslim, right? It makes
Muslim.
sense.
Yeah.
Koulibaly, Ziyech, Mendy, three of the biggest Muslim stars in the world. Someone said Mendy isn't Muslim, but I'm pretty sure he is.
He is. He is. He
So
is.
I will
Yeah.
include him in that.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. Like, it's not our problem. We've got some of the biggest attractions for, not necessarily ability, but following. Ziyech's got like 10 million followers on Instagram. Like, they want to grow the league, so it's not just about ability as well, it's about your marketability. And I think Todd Boehly has done a really good job. Again, like, what's stopping Spurs from going out, what's stopping Daniel Levy from going out and meeting the Saudis? Nothing. What I
No.
mean? Not our
No.
problem, and you haven't created that relationship. So rivals just need to stop crying, honestly. It's
Rivals.
hilarious.
Rivals are crying because they're salty and annoyed at the fact that their own clubs ain't even thought of something like this, and that, they try and use the issue with Saudi Arabia and the UK, all this crap and the other. But what they fail to forget is that part of or majority of Clear Lake Capital, which is obviously big owners of Chelsea Football Club, are owned or part owned by Saudi investors. And how would we have got that signed off? And let's be serious, this got signed off by the English government. This got signed off by the Premier League. They would have learned all of this before signing this all off. We already have that relationship because of having Clear Lake Capital on board anyway. Yeah. So at the end of the day, us making these moves and doing what we're doing, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. We're just using contacts, like Pi said. We're making relationships, we're building relationships, and then we're using the contacts that we have available to get the best out of what we can. And the fact that we're getting 25 million for Koulibaly a year later, when we bought him for what was it, 40 or 35? I can't even remember. Like, that's not bad, and then that's without us learning on all the others that we're obviously looking to offload as well. So, and also the Muslim culture, the connection between it's massive, it's huge. So, they can continue being salty and moaning. They moaned last year because we were doing 6-year contracts and they didn't wake up, and we did in one season under business owners like Todd Boehly and Iqbali and benefited from it. It's not our fault that we're doing things or trying to get things done in not in a legal way, but in a way where we can benefit from it. It is what it is. I just find it very funny, all of it, to be honest. So yeah, we heard that from, obviously, it looks like Koulibaly, Mendy, and Ziyech are all looking like they're on their way. We know Kante's already there. There's talks about Aubameyang as well. Have a 6 million offer from a Saudi Arabian club for Aubameyang as well. These are all big payouts for the players as well, guys. You got to forget this as well. Some of these players are going to get one more big contract left. Why do you think N'Golo Kante left and went over there? What is it, 100 million? I think his contract is, or something, or his wage structure is, or something. It's crazy. It's crazy money. It's the fault that Chelsea were originally presented with proposal for 5 players, Lukaku, yeah, you said, which would generate more than 100 million. That's without selling Mount and Havertz, by the way, on top of that. But Lukaku's insistence, we already know. Chelsea are looking likely to see at 25.5 million, is what Jacob Steinberg said as well. Levi Colwill, do you think he's a player that's going to have a big chance in getting into the squad next season? Or do you think it's going to be a big pre-season for a lot of these players and Poch is going to make decisions on the likes of someone like him then?
No, I think Levi Colwill will definitely be in the squad. Yeah, I think he'd definitely start the first game as well because I think Badiashile is currently injured, right? So, whether or not he comes back in time for that first game, I'm not sure. I think he was out for a couple of months or 3 months or something like that. So, again, I think, like the tweet says from Fab, I think selling Koulibaly helps Levi Colwill. There's obviously a debate, whether Levi Colwill should just get a free pass into the team, but he's a very, very good player. And, there's no chance we're going to sell him.
100%. So, I mean, other than that, I don't think there's anything. Have we missed anything in terms of Chelsea news up to this point, guys? I don't think there was anything new. Is there?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the latest as it stands.
What about the strikers? We haven't spoke much about. Obviously, we know Jackson is an option. You did say that you think we'll potentially go for another mate. There's not much options though, is it? Osimhen, Vlahovic. I thought Ivan Toney would have been perfect. My opinion. Yeah, I think Ivan Toney would have been perfect. Can we even? Is he banned till January? Is he at the moment from football? Ivan Toney. I think he is.
Yeah, he
so
is.
Can we not? Could we not look at that or revisit that again? See, my thing is this: if we get Jackson, but we don't get Osimhen and Vlahovic, but in January we decide to get Ivan Toney, I'm cool with that. Like,
yeah, but I don't know. Like, I just got a feeling like Brentford probably going to want him. Like, right? Like, they're not. I don't see them selling him personally. But I think that would also be a risk to do that. I definitely thought about it, but I think it's definitely a risk. We could be. Yeah, it's a risk to do that. Just in terms of like starting that few months of the season with Jackson and Broja, it would be a huge risk for me personally. I'd like to, hopefully do no business in January. Our team would be perfect. It would be set, and we could just go from there really.
What about the midfield? We haven't spoke much about Chelsea and midfield at the moment. Because Caicedo seems to be heating up potentially. I feel we need at least two in the midfield anyway. We've got Enzo there. We need to try and unlock Enzo and get the best out of him next season. Is there a worry that maybe we might lose this Caicedo deal for you? Or do you feel that we're in control of this one? And who do you think would be a good second option to bring through the door as well?
I think it's ours, to be honest with you, because I think Arsenal going for Rice, they're looking at Lavia as well. Arsenal, like we were, Arsenal were the other big club, obviously, who bid in January. I don't see anyone else being able to compete with us financially or coming in. I think it's not very down the line, but in terms of obviously personal terms, Fab said 95% done. So I think he's ours, to be honest with you. And, he should be with the amount of money we're going to bring in. Like Havertz and Kovacic, there's what? 85 mil there,
Yeah,
just
that's
the
about
two players. So,
yeah,
that's without Mount. That's without other players. That's without the Saudi money. So yeah, I think he'll end up being ours. I just hope it doesn't drag too long. Like problem is with Brighton is they're so annoying to negotiate with. Like, but the fact is, like, Caicedo's got a pact with De Zerbi and the club to leave. So hopefully once he's finished his games of Ecuador. He
did put his comment out there earlier on in the season, didn't he? Saying that he was leaving. That was quite random, if you remember.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I think I like Caicedo. I actually think some people still say, well, he isn't like the specialist DM, but I just think he's so versatile that he's able to do all of it to a degree, and he reminds me of Michael Essien a little bit in like being able to do so many different things. Strong physically. I was watching clips of him. I've watched enough of him anyway, but clips of him, he's press resistant, but he's also very good on the press as well. Like he wins the ball back very quickly up the pitch. He's strong. Can you imagine seeing an Enzo and Caicedo midfield next to each other? Do you think that would bring the best out of Enzo Fernandez?
Yeah, I think so. If Caicedo could sit a little bit more and just cover the ground, win the duels and stuff like that, I think it definitely could be a really good partnership.
Does he fit the
Again,
Poch system as well, though? Do you think? Do you think the idea of
yeah,
him
yeah,
getting involved quickly? Yeah.
I think so. I think honestly, I rate Caicedo so highly, and he's only 21 as well, so he can definitely learn a new
Better.
tactic or a new system or whatever. Like I just think he's a really, really good player. Like look at him the other week, right? He played right back against Man United, did really well. It's just crazy.
Essien.
Like yeah,
Essien.
you know,
That's what Michael Essien used to do. We used to
yeah,
play him right back when we needed to, and he was actually quite all right in it as well. And that's why he reminds me of him. He has the versatility to be able to do that. What he's very good at doing is picking the ball up, playing the ball out very quickly on the transitions. He's physically good in the midfield to have because he will break up plays. A player that we've missed for 3 years, in my opinion. We've not had this type of, if we get it done, this type of player at our disposal, and it's an area that we've neglected for 3 years, and it's been too long for us to have done that. But he's definitely the player for me that gives us options. And when you look at the way he plays it for Brighton, people say, yeah, well, he's not a DM. He always plays the most deepest out of the midfield, and he still does the job very well. I think
yeah.
he's
He's
a
a,
top
he's a
player.
big part in their build-up. There's a big
He
part in
is.
their build-up players, what people don't
He is.
realise. So
Because he breaks up the play very well and then he moves the ball quickly and he has the ability to play balls as well. He's not like he's got a bad pass on him or anything. Do you know what I mean? He can play a good pass over the top or through the middle or whatever. He's got the vision to do that. Even though we've got Enzo on the pitch for that, but it just really makes it strong. And then it's the question of, well, you say we get Caicedo and you have Enzo. Who else is next? Do we then get someone that's a bit more of a specialist DM, maybe a little bit different? Who's available? Because Ugarte's obviously out the window now. I heard Paulinho's getting touted up for West Ham, which I'm thinking to myself, well, could we have not done that? Was he 30 mil or 40 mil?
about 50 to be honest, bro. I think he's
Yeah, well,
more than that.
Latvia is an option, and he's interested in Chelsea, from what we understand as well. But obviously, Arsenal have good relationships with him as well. So I think Latvia would be perfect for us personally. Who else? Who would you go for? Second option.
I think Lavia would be good, but to my point of experience, I'd like to see us go for Brozovic. To be honest with you, I think Brozovic would be a good signing for us. But I know we won't go down that route. That's not what they want to do, unfortunately.
I also heard from Ben Jacobs, who was on the show last week, guys. He said that Inter Milan are in a position where they have to sell again, and he feels that every player is available for the right amount.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? So could we maybe potentially sign a player or two from Inter Milan or a player potentially? There was talks about Barella to Chelsea. I don't see that happening.
No, that one doesn't really make sense to me. Unless Poch is going to do, throw up a different system. But again, it wouldn't really make sense with Nkunku coming in and other recruitment links. To be fair, so yeah, I don't think Barella makes much sense in terms of like the formation we play. But we'll see.
Okay, guys, other than that, I don't think there's anything more to really comment on up to this point. Obviously, we're going to keep bringing you breaking news as it comes as well. I am going to allow the panel lot to come in. So I'll let Pies obviously go and get on with what he needs to for the rest of the day, because I'm sure he's a busy man himself. But it's been great having you on, bro, as always. I appreciate you putting some time here and just going through some of the, the stuff that we had to today. And any sort of final thoughts? Anything else you want to say to the Chelsea fans to this point? Be patient.
Yeah, look out for a Caicedo bid this week. I reckon that will happen. All indications are that we'll make a move this week. So I think that'll be the next big one. The Jackson, here we go. I expect that this week for sure. That one seems very, very close to be fair. I think it's just literally just discussing like installments. Once that's done, I think we can schedule the medicals. He plays his final game for Senegal tonight against Brazil as well, but I don't know if he'll play because it's Brazil. So we'll see. But yeah, just try and be patient. I'm probably the most impatient Chelsea fan. So if I can be patient, then you guys can as well.
Pies, big love, man. Appreciate you always coming on as always, mate. And we'll sort something out again soon once we start getting getting more news coming through the door, break-ins, and yeah, we'll get you on and
All
we'll
right,
go through
bro.
it from there.
Yes.
Big up, man. See you later on. Take care, bro. See you later. Joey, big up to you. Smash the like button if you ain't already. And please, guys, subscribe. Thanks you for all the love and support. Guys, nearly 400 of you still here as well. Big up to every single one of you that's here at the moment. Honestly, appreciate it. I know I've not been on as much recently as well. If you don't like the channel, go, bro. Don't watch it. Like, it's not hard. Don't like the channel, don't watch it. That is the best word I can get, the best bit of advice I can give you. Brozovic would bring that experience and leadership is what RD's saying as well. Let's hope Nkunku isn't another Bundesliga dud, getting quite skeptical of that league. Yeah, but I look at Nkunku and I just see a player able to cope with the physical ability, the adaptation side of it. I just think he has a lot in his locker that I think we will benefit from, along with being a clinical finisher with it as well. Do we have any links to Rice? No, it seems like Arsenal are on the forefront of that as well. AJ, what are you saying, mate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big up, Jam. How you doing?
How are you, man?
Long time no see. Long time no speak.
Bro. I know. How is everything?
I'm good, man. Just another day. Summer's finally kicking in over here.
It seems like Chelsea is starting to also heat up this week, mate. Obviously, Pius is saying Caicedo bid could happen this week. Obviously, Jackson as a striker could be announced very soon. We're also selling players off for healthy values, which is what we want to see, right? I mean, what's your thoughts on Chelsea at the moment, moving forward?
You're right when you say things are heating up. It's a lot of activity going on, but until something is confirmed, well, actually, we got Nkunku today. He was confirmed today.
You got Nkunku? Yeah, he was confirmed.
That's big news right there. That helps the attack. But I'm just interested in Caicedo, bro. Midfield is my area, so I'm hoping we lock that in.
100%, bro. 100%. What's your thoughts on the next option of second strikers? Like, who do you think? Not second striker, second midfielder. Sorry, who do you think will be a good option if we get Caicedo done? Who would you go for next? What's available?
I've been banging this message of getting a specialist DM. That's my MO. But right now, I don't see us linked to any. I like João Palhinha, but if we not getting him, I see Lavia. The links are starting to drip in. But I see other teams are linked with him as well. So Chelsea have some decisions to make. That's what's going on right now. Everything is up in the air. It's a lot of things up in the air. That's the only thing that I don't like. But yeah, we'll see.
How do you feel the ball's moved as well? Are you kind of or just waiting? Are you happy with how things are going at the moment? Or some fans are a little bit annoyed with the fact that we're moving?
Some fans are impatient. They're impatient or they don't understand. It's a lot of work that you got to do, especially these guys. They took the club over last year. They're still. I know you think a year passes, everything should be good now, but it's not like that. They're still making up for things that happened before them. A lot of these players that we are selling, were there before the board. So they're still trying to get that money, recoup as much money as possible. And, I think they're moving properly. They're on it. The window just opened. They've been working. I think they've learned. Obviously, they also have, the team more established in terms of the backroom staff and the board and Win Stanley and all these guys. So, they're moving in the direction that they need to be.
100%, 100%. And I think it's all a patience game. I know people want to react to what's going on. Have you heard about the Tchouaméni links? Yeah, I read.
I saw that too. I actually saw it like yesterday, but I don't really see anybody talking about it. So I just
Chelsea offered 60 million for Tchouaméni, but was turned down. Now they are thinking of raising the bid to 80 million euros. An interesting amount that could.
No, come on, bro.
Why would they sell it?
Yeah.
What?
I'll take Tchouaméni for like a nice 40 piece or something. I'll take him for that. But anything over that is kind of crazy, especially for getting Caicedo. It's kind of tough.
I don't think we'd get. Why would they sell him? Where they just got him?
They don't really. I mean, he's been there for what, 2 years now, 2 seasons now. I mean, he hasn't really broken. Yeah, he hasn't broken through, But it takes time sometimes, especially when you have like all-time midfielders. It just takes time.
Yeah. Bertram, nice to see you, man. Thank you for the donations. This is a live call in where can I get the link? So next time, bro, I'm going to be doing that. So the next show we'll be bringing in panels and obviously you viewers as well. Not this one because we're coming close to the end of it now, my man. But just give us a follow. And yeah, next time we're on, I'll drop the link in and you can definitely come on and have your say, mate. 100%. Also, guys, I see obviously AJ. He's got TikTok as well. I have got a TikTok account. I don't know if you guys didn't know this, but give me a follow on TikTok as well.
Yes,
AJ, give me a
Send
follow
those
on
follows
TikTok. I'm doing something over there at the moment, actually, which is a little bit off like the football topics, but we're basically pushing to be in the top 20 of the UK on TikTok.
Okay.
So on July the 9th, we've got a week's battle. So it's quite hard to understand. I don't know if you've seen the battling on TikTok or whatever.
I haven't. To be honest, I'm new to it. Like,
yeah, you'll probably see me on there quite a lot. If you follow me, AJ, you'll see me come on there a couple of times. And basically,
yeah, I'm gonna follow you after this.
Who can be top of the UK rankings, basically. It's quite a good thing that we've been doing. But we're going to give it a go on July the 9th. So, guys, give me a follow on TikTok. Give me a follow on TikTok if you haven't done already. The link's in the chat as well. There's over 300 people here. So if you've got TikTok, guys, give me a follow on over there. Follow AJ as well, which is on here. AJ's TikTok is NYC Chelsea Blues. I like that, man. It's quite nice.
Thank you. It was open, so I was like, let me grab it.
Make sure you follow me so I can follow you back. Yeah, Gem0420 it is at the end. So just make sure you give me a follow and I'll give you a follow back.
What's your thoughts though, Gem? What you thinking about the board and the activity and the players that were
I've kind of said most of it, to be fair. I mean, with the board, I'm patient. I do feel that they've made footballing, errors with footballing decisions, which didn't surprise me because, again, they're just not built to fully understand the game. They decided to take it on. I do think that they do have the best interest of the club. I'll be honest with you. I think they tried to please the fans by making signings and trying to move things quickly and trying to as well. But ultimately, I think it shot them in the foot a bit. I think the manager decisions have shot them in the foot as well with Graham Potter.
Definitely.
Which I think, again, look, they fucked up. And I'm pretty sure they knew it because they've obviously got rid of him mid-season. You sacked Tuchel in one season, you had Graham Potter, and then you sacked Potter in the same season. Like they had to make the decision. So, they've made mistakes, guys, and I get it. Some people are maybe not fond of them because of it and whatever. But Todd Bowley spoke about long-term sustainability, something that he wants this club to have. And to be able to do that, you have to rip the core out at the moment. And the core out means
that's the only way.
Not only does it mean getting rid of half of the recruiting board, which we've done, and then placing it, which we've done, which is a tick at the moment, but it's also the players as well, because you don't want players here that don't want to be here, because you can't move forward with anything you want to do. It's like any business. You buy a business and you've still got the same employees, but the employees that are within that business were shite for the old owners and it's still the same. You can't then go and be what you want to be or take your company somewhere if you've got people that are working for you that just don't give two fucks or don't, or don't want to be there or just take the piss. So it's the same. I know it sounds really stupid, but I try and really explain it to people like that, because that is literally the same thing with a football. Because
people don't understand that football is a business as well. It's a business. It's a company just like regular companies. It's just on a massive scale, like in terms of commercially, but
they took on a lot from the old regime. Lots of mixtures of players that didn't want to be here. There was just
so many managers. So many managers.
All right, they didn't help with it because they mucked it up on their own decision making and whatever. And I get all that, but I think now, and why I say this is such a big summer, is that they've got a real good opportunity now to flush everything out, bring everything that they need to bring in, along with the manager supporting that, because that's a big key part of it. And then from now on, I do feel that we need to start seeing a progression as a unit, because at the moment, I feel like we've kind of going like that, and then the managers and the teams just like there still. We need to be going like that together as we work our way up. And I think that's the aim. And that's what Man City have done so well, and why they're so successful, and why things still work now, is because when they make decisions to remove players and add or whatever, it always seems to still tick along because they're all on the same page. And they all seem, and they're being successful, and there's a progression, and there's a system, and there's a routine, and there's everything's understood. That's what we want for the future. The problem we have with the future is that we can't just continue having seasons like we did last season. and wait till the future comes with all these young players that we're bringing in and hope it works then. We still have to find what we need to find now to then carry it up to when we reach the 3, 4, 5 years down the line and we start seeing the Santoses and the whoever's that we're bringing in, the Caicedos and that we're buying in to potentially maybe be given opportunities in the future to then hopefully kick on and then the investment comes because their experience is now in place. They're now worth from what we bought them at 20 million to now 60 million because they've been playing competitive football. Maybe if it was elsewhere before Chelsea to this point, they then come into the Chelsea team into the Premier League. Hopefully, fingers crossed, some of them with a price tag on them, a heavy price tag, and they get their opportunity to be at this club and be successful with us. If they don't, then we sell them for an investment.
That's business.
How it's going to work. Whether you like it or not, that is business. Yeah. And that's what people need to understand. It's just a little bit the same like the old regime in how it was with the Loney project, but I think it's going to be a little bit different in how we approach it, But
also, if you look at the players that we've signed, it's not some players that we can't see the potential in them. That word potential gets annoying, but that's what it is. It's an investment. You're banking on potential. You're banking on what you potentially can see out of this player. And we've signed some good players. Mudryk, Madueke, they've shown bright moments, throughout that course of 6 months in the season. And it was great that we got them at the time we got them because they've already gotten a taste of the Premier League. Now when they enter this preseason, they enter it with a different mentality. Their body will be different. There'll be the new coat. There'll be Poch will be there. It's going to be a good situation to walk into. So it was 100%. Tough the last 6 months, but I think we're going in the right direction. Everybody should start panicking.
Big up Franklin. Armando Broja is due back in training with Chelsea under 21s tomorrow. So he will start training ahead of Pochettino's pre-season. He's ahead of schedule in his return also, apparently, with his knee injury, which is good news.
There we go. I like Broja too, I really liked him. I just like how his play style, and he was finally actually getting a chance. It just sucks that he got hurt at the time. Why do our players always get hurt in these random games? Like, it's crazy.
I don't know, mate. It's just our luck, isn't it? There's also a little bit of news in and around the multi-club, what we were talking about in the future. Strasbourg are in limbo amid talks with Chelsea over a potential takeover of the club, while talks with Todd Bowley continue. Strasbourg are at a standstill and no transfer business will be carried out until the issue of the ownership is resolved. Who the hell is Strasbourg? That's what I need to find out.
That's a French club, I believe.
Is it?
If I'm not right. I don't know. Chat, correct us, but I believe that's a French club.
Yeah, city in French, Strasbourg.
So what? They don't have an owner at all, and they're waiting on Todd B.
They're waiting on someone to buy them out to allow them to continue.
Todd B is busy, man. He's a busy guy.
They are in the the French league. Yeah. That won't surprise me. That would not surprise me. It goes back to what we were saying just earlier on. It actually supports what we were saying earlier on about having the multi-club idea of maybe sending some of these youngsters to a club like this and giving them competitive football. And then it then makes Strasbourg more competitive, which means that they make more money through that because now they're, instead of sitting 17th, are now sitting 8th or 7th. They become a bit more known. You know what I mean?
And exactly. They'll have good players and our players. It's a win-win. Yeah. It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. It's a place, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go with it all as well. But I am going to leave because I've got to shoot. I have to dip off. So over 300 people here. AJ, big love, my bro. Nice seeing you here.
No doubt, man.
We'll carry a longer show on, obviously, with the panel win and going through everything very soon as well. We'll keep an eye on the news. Any more break-ins, we'll be back to share with you guys and go through everything as always. Make sure you smash the like buttons, subscribe to the channel as well as always, guys. Big love to every single one of you.
Subscribe to TikTok, guys.
Yeah, subscribe to TikTok as well. I've probably lost the thing that I put. Where is it?
It's in the chat.
Somewhere in the chat, I'll put the link to TikTok. Give us a follow over on TikTok as well when you get the chance as well.
Yes, sir.
Big love, guys. I'll see you again very, very shortly. And yeah, peace out.